as you feel yourself now in this time and in this place, I want you to tell me the very first things that you see, or the very first impressions that you have as you begin to understand where you are and what is happening around you.
It's dark, but I saw was Joe and I laying together like we were naked holding each other. And the love was profound. Almost makes me want to cry now.
As you're laying here together, are you inside or outside?
It's dark. It's just dark.
So just allow whatever emotion wants to come up.
It's like this unbelievable love. There's this sadness. I don't know what this sadness is about.
Just trust it. Just allow the emotion to come through. All will become clear.
It's like it's gone.
So take a deep breath. And expand your energy into this space. Just allow whatever information that wants to come to you to come to you. Tell me what you see, sense, and feel all around you.
There's like a vast room.
A vast
cold.
room.
Vast room. It's cold. Stone. It feels like stone. Big table, like a kitchen. Big kitchen.
Big kitchen.
Yeah, it's a big kitchen. I think it's where we live.
And are you male or female?
I'm a female.
And what are you doing in this kitchen? Where are you?
It's like a big island, and I'm cutting up vegetables or something. Like cooking soup. There's soup. There's sunlight coming through the window.
And are you alone, or is there anyone there with you?
I'm alone. I'm waiting. Waiting for him.
Has he been away somewhere?
Yeah.
And how old do you feel here in this scene?
Maybe 30.
So I want you to look down at your feet. You to get an idea of what you look like. So let's look down at your feet. Scan up the body.
I had a long dress on. Like with the apron and the waist. I don't really see my feet. They're underneath the dress.
Scan up your body. Do you see any jewelry on your hands, or?
I'm pretty plain. I think it's pretty plain. It's nice, but it's plain. Tight waist. My waist is small. It's like white. I see white. White apron, white. Plain. plain fabrics.
Mm-hmm. And so scan up to your head and just get a sense of your face, your hair, and if you're wearing anything on your head.
I have my hair up and I have like a white hat or something holding my hair up.
And what's your name? Just your first impression.
Lisette. Lisette.
Lisette. Very good. And so you say you're waiting here for him. Is he your husband? Yeah.
I'm supposed to come home.
Where has he been?
I don't know. I didn't believe.
And how long have you been waiting?
A long time. I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's coming back.
Just allowing that emotion to release.
He promised me it'd be okay. I don't think it was okay. I don't know. I was worried.
Can you tell me what year it is where you are?
I don't know. I say 300. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It's a long time ago. Like it feels like medieval.
Okay. And do you have any children?
Yes, I have two. A boy and a girl.
And so have you been bringing them up on your own? And that must be very difficult.
And there was just great love between us. It was great love.
And so, how long has he been away for? How long have you been waiting here?
I think a year.
Okay. And did he leave for work, or was he called to leave?
I had to go. Something he had to do. He didn't want to do it, but he had to do it.
And had you ever been away from him before?
Not like this. No. He would never leave me. I didn't want to leave. Maybe it was something. It's his family, maybe something. I don't know. I don't know why.
So let's move forward in time to when something else happens here. Moving forward in time to when something else happens. Be there now. Tell Tell me what you see and sense.
It was years, nothing happened. I never knew. Knew. It was just gone. I never could make sense of it.
It must be very hard for you to not know what's happened. It's been very painful.
I never got over it. I never loved again.
So let's take a deep breath in. Observe and describe what's happening. Now, tell me what else is happening.
I'm dying of heartbreak.
Yeah. And how old are you?
Not maybe 35.
Okay. Is there anyone with you?
My children. Couldn't heal my heart.
You to take the very last breath of that lifetime and transition out of the body. Taking your last breath and then transitioning out of the body, you are now outside of the body. And from this perspective, you can understand the deeper meaning and purpose of that lifetime. What was the meaning and purpose of that life? And what were you learning?
I had profound love.
Profound love.
The contrast of profound love and losing it. It just...
Tell me more about that.
It's just this unresolved. I can't resolve it. I don't know why. I don't know. There's like, it didn't make sense. Why?
So from that perspective of being outside of the body, you can see what happened to your husband. You can understand where he went and what happened.
He had an accident. I think I always felt he didn't want to come back. He did. I just couldn't.
Did he die from that accident?
Yes. He would try to communicate with me and I wouldn't hear it. My heart was so broken. Couldn't hear him.
So now that you've left that life, you can release any energy that does not serve you anymore, anything you're carrying with you, that pain of loss, of not knowing, of confusion, of heartbreak. Take a nice deep breath for me now. And as you exhale, any negativity from this experience will be released from your soul. You do not have to carry that with you any longer. You can let it go. So let's drift away from that lifetime, thanking it for the information it brought to you and the healing. We're moving to a new time and place that has helpful information for you in line with that same intention. Arriving in this new time and place. Be there now. What's happening there? Where are you?
I remember it. I'm in Dunkin' Donuts. It was when I had been seeing each other we had met, and I didn't really understand his life. He said he had a boat. I didn't really understand it. And he said to me, I remember I was perplexed by it. He looked at me and he said, I don't want to leave you on. I'm leaving. And I went, what? And he was leaving to go to be on his boat. He was leaving town. And I said, well, how long are you leaving for? And he said, a couple months. I may be gone a couple of months. But he really wasn't really clear. It was like this. I thought it was a premonition of our relationship to come, but I think it was about that last life.
It was a memory. And how did you feel in that moment when he said that he was leaving?
I was just confused. Like, what? Why, I don't understand why you're telling me this. What? We had been having such a good time and didn't give me any indication of that he'd be leaving. It was sort of my first. It's kind of what he did. He would leave. We'd be together and then he'd leave. And I remember when we first got together, I said, I'm not going to let you leave me. We're going to do everything together. I had this sense I couldn't let him leave me. And when we traveled for months at a time. We didn't leave each other's side for a moment because we were on that boat. And I was so happy. I was so happy.
Thanks. Is there anything else here that wants to come through?
I was saying when we traveled together, I was so happy because we never left each other. And we were so happy together. We just fit. Our just energy just fit everything. And then the conflict would happen when he'd leave. Uncertainty, and then and then the leaving got farther and farther apart. It's more leaving than being together.
So this leaving will have continually triggered this scar for you.
Yeah. I would just tell myself I was okay with it. It's almost like he was wanting me to come run after him. I never did it. I didn't do it. I wanted him to come back to me.
It's almost like you've been replaying this energy in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So let's move now to another important scene that may have some more information for you about this connection, about what you need to know about this connection right now. So drifting to another important scene has information for you. Be there now. Tell me what's happening as it happens.
I see us facing each other, holding hands. It's like our hearts between us. It's like in between lifetimes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just, he says, I'll find you.
Indeed.
I'll find you. I won't leave you this time. That's what you promised. He didn't keep his promise. Oh.
So as you're in this space together, I want you to look over, and there is a guide coming to you now. This guide will appear to you in whatever form that it needs to. Look over and you will see this guide now. Tell me what you see.
A large white being.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
And this being will tell you its name now.
Noah.
Noah. Noah has a message for you with regards to this connection. Listen to that message now and tell me what Noah says.
This great love will be challenged.
Mm-hmm.
It will be challenged.
It will be challenged.
It will be challenged.
Mm-hmm. Can Noah tell us more about that, please?
It's this time wherein it will challenge it.
Okay.
It will challenge it to the core of our being. It will challenge us.
Mm. And has it been designed that way?
It's because of what we're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the love is so pure and so it'll be attacked. They will try to suppress it.
Mm.
And being told it's going to be hard.
Okay.
And then we don't think it will be hard. So we can't see. I see it now. We'll be faced with choices that'll separate us. We'll have to overcome the separation. And it'll be hard. But that's the work.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you for this message. It's very helpful. Is there any other messages that Noah has for Lynn today? Is there anything else you wish to share with Lynn?
Even when you aren't together, speak to him. Speak to him. Share your heart. Speak out loud to him. He won't forget. It'll start bringing the memory back. You know why you're here. You know, but he doesn't.
Very good. Thank you, Noah, for your time and your messages today and your love. So we're going to drift away from that scene and we're going to begin to drift up, higher and higher, to connect with your higher self. Your higher self is merging with you now. You are fully connected once again with your higher self. May I please speak to Len's higher self now?
Yes.
Thank you so much for working with us today. I would also like to call in Len's entire family of light to join us and begin to do any healing work that she can receive for this session. I would like to ask some questions on Len's behalf. Would that be appropriate?
Yes.
Thank you. So out of everything that you could have shown Len today, why did you choose to show her these scenes with Joe? And what are they telling her about this connection?
This separation that's happening right now on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much separation, just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
All different ways, all different kinds. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, political. It's all divide. And it all causes heartbreak. It's a massive collective heartbreak at this moment in time. And it was one lifetime that's just transpired through multiple layers of the consciousness of both of them, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And all this is in the process of being cleared. And the separation they keep creating, it's just a moment in time that I'm having a hard time explaining, that's going to come to some kind of convergence is all I can say. You will know when you know. There'll be a convergence of time where all the collective heartbreak, the singular heartbreak, all that will just converge and literally pop and release. It's the pain and the suffering of the human experience. It's at such a heightened state right now, and creating separation on every level. And so this is what she's feeling. And it's playing out through their relationship. The love is so there, and yet they're separate, and they don't understand why. And it's very hard to put into words, but you feel it everywhere. It permeates the literal ether of your world at this moment in time. You can't walk around without feeling it if you're sensitive.
So it's almost as if the dynamic is an individual fractal of what's playing out on the planet as a collective.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. And for him, he keeps thinking that it's the relationship causing it. So he's looking other places to try to resolve it, when it actually is not. It's actually not even them. It's what's happening on your planet. And everybody's blaming everybody else for it. It's not the case. It's all coming up to just be released. And everybody's pointing fingers. And Lynn is learning to bridge that and say it's not over there, it's not over there. There's love here. That's all that matters. When you look on one side or the other, you don't see the truth. So everybody's so confused. It's love in the middle. That's where the answer is. And that's the work to get to that place of being able to stay there, which is difficult in these times.
Yes.
But you're moving there, and it's going to become easier and easier as the year goes on this year. There'll be a more or less a culmination point, it feels to me, mid-year.
So what can Lynn know? What does she need to know or understand about this connection so that she can stay grounded and also move into a higher state of being whilst navigating this connection?
She needs to trust that even though what she is feeling and seeing feels crazy to her, and to the average person, if she tells them, they will think she's crazy. Just get away from him. She can't get away from him. They're now, because of what's been activated within her, she has to find a way to just trust that she's in a space of knowing and not a space of confusion. And so in speaking to people about it, she needs to choose wisely who she speaks to about it, because it needs to be somebody of her level of consciousness. If she chooses to speak to somebody who has a lesser consciousness, who's in that lower fear-based, they will only see that he is bad for her.
Yes.
And so she has to stop doing that. That will help. And also just how this plays out, it's this culmination point is going to shift things so massively. You can't even imagine how. It's kind of like throwing up the pickup sticks and they'll fall down, and everything will just be where it's supposed to be magically. What that looks like, it's hard to explain, but it will resolve itself. And waking up to this, he's doing things differently, even though it doesn't feel like that to Lynn. He is doing things differently than he ever has in this life, because he's seeing that his patterns have not worked, and it's because of Lynn that's happened. That time apart or no contact was the best thing she could have done, because he really he couldn't figure out why. And so he really had to reflect on that. So she just has to be still as much as possible.
Now, us humans love a good definition. So, how and what words could be used to define this type of connection here on Earth?
I would say it was a promised connection.
Okay.
It was a promised love. It was a promised fulfillment of love. It was a promised overcoming of the obstacles they'd had in the past. And a promised comfort, promised safety. Lynn says, "Oh, I just want my heart to rest." And that's what the promise was. That they would find rest with each other. But it would not come without obstacles, and it would be hard. But when it came, it would be worth it. There would be rest in the love that they share. And it will happen in this lifetime.
It will happen. Okay.
It will happen.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's not going to be smooth. It's going to be a bit bumpy.
But it's closer than you think. It's closer.
Okay.
It's closer than you think. Yes.
Okay.
Rest in that.
So this sounds like a divine love to me. Is that correct? Like a divine soul connection.
Yes. It's definitely divinely orchestrated. And I know Lynn did not see it in the beginning. That was part of the contract, or whatever you want to call it. They were not going to recognize it at first. And Joe has not totally recognized it as of yet. He's starting to.
It does kind of reminisces of what we here on Earth would call a twin flame connection. Can you tell me what the difference between this kind of connection is and a twin flame connection, just so I can understand?
They are both connected to the same twin flame.
Okay.
And a twin of a twin flame.
Okay.
They do not carry the same mirror that a twin flame does. It's a little different. But they have their energies merge, even though they are different. But they don't mirror each other. Twin flames tend to mirror each other. They just merge. Aspects that are polarized, but also very different aspects in each other. Not the mirror aspects. So it's a little different. If that makes sense.
Thank you. Yes, it does. Thank you. I'm just curious about these nuances in connections with people.
Yes, Lynn had her other aspect of her twin flame was when he was closer to the mirror. So she's, in some ways, that's part of what she's struggled with. She's had these 4 relationships that she's had since her divorce have been twin aspects.
Okay.
But they are not her twin. And that is why there is the pain of separation and not understanding. And
you explained to her why she went through this experience so profoundly after feeling like she was able to move on from this.
She had reached a point of total sovereignty. Mm-hmm. She had reached that point. She felt that freedom that comes. She had tapped into her true divine self. Mm-hmm. And so once that happened, once she found that, it was time for her to go back. Okay. It was the timing of it. It needed to happen in that moment. And that's why it was so profound in her face. There was alignments with astrology, etc. That in those moments, it was meant to, it was a divine intervention, so to speak. It was a destiny point.
So can you tell us, to help us understand a little bit about the psychic aspects, the heart activation, the psychic connection, the telepathy, the memories, all of this? Can you help us understand why all this has been activated now as well? Could you give her any help or assistance or guidance with that?
It's starting to happen with more and more people, and especially those connected in these divine partnerships. Mm-hmm. It's an activation of sorts that you're going to have to learn to work with these types of energies, because it's going to be the way of life in the future. And these divine partnerships are establishing that you have to learn to work with it. You will not be able to be out of alignment with each other at all. There will have to be total truth and trust. And well, the trust will, if you won't be able to not be true to each other, mm-hmm. It will not be possible.
Okay. So is he having similar experiences, synchronicities and telepathy and things like that? Is he feeling that as well? Yeah.
The telepathy is what he's feeling. Okay. More than the synchronicity. It's the telepathy, and he knows that Lynn knows things that he just knows she does, and he doesn't quite know what to do with it. It's something that with the way their relationship, they never had this kind of telepathic. He wanted that with her, mm-hmm. and they never had it, and he couldn't understand it, and it was actually being blocked initially until these moments in time. But now he knows it's there, mm-hmm. and he can't quite grasp why it's happening like this. So he's got to come to terms with it.
Is there anything from that past life, anything that needs or can be cleared or healed or understood so that Lynn can release that and be more centered moving forward? Or was it really just to experience that lifetime again?
Yeah, it was to see the lifetime for what it was, and to see he didn't abandon her.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because she's carried that wound forever. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning of it. She never could resolve it.
And are we able to release that abandonment wound today?
Yes.
Thank you.
It is done.
Thank you. Is there something we can put in the place of that so that she can be more confident moving forward?
We'll put a rose in the heart. In full bloom. A red rose.
And is there any assistance or guidance that you can forward of how to handle this situation for the best of both of them? You know, obviously she's more aware of the situation. And is there any guidance that you can give her moving forward of how to best navigate the connection?
I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. It's going to require patience and just remembering that there was this promise, and that everything that is happening, even though it doesn't look to be that he's following through with the promise. It's all happening so that the promise can come.
Mm.
And so instead of being hurt by what is happening, try to be grateful. It's one more step towards the promise fulfilled. And finding the gratitude and even the things that don't seem in alignment with that. It's all playing out so he gets to the point he can see the promise, remember the promise as well.
Mm. Is there anything that Lynn can do to help him? Or has he got to completely come to that realization on his own?
Well, what she did going to him and just totally being honest about her love for him, not holding back. And the same is true as if there is contact, when there is contact, just sharing her love and not holding back. And that this is the truth for her, regardless of what he is doing. It is the truth. And that will start triggering more of his memory. She has triggered some of the memory. He's not believing it. But it will take some time. But this culmination point, I believe, is going to be a big part of it. Coming to terms with it, seeing it for what it is.
I'm just feeling some emotion right now because it resonates very, very deeply with my own connection. Just what you're saying.
A tough time. A tough time, especially for women, because you all know it. Most of the men don't.
Yeah, we do.
And that was part of what you were told coming in. You knew that it was going to be hard. You knew that the men wouldn't remember. And it would be your job to help them remember.
That was a good idea. Can I have a word with them, please?
Yes. No one said it would be easy. You were warned.
Why is it the women were the ones that had to know?
Because you're the ones bringing these new energies in. You're the ones that have been suppressed. You're the ones that are having to stand up. And so
yeah, that makes sense.
It is you that are bringing the light to things. And when the men wake up, when they come, there will be many that wake up all at once. It will be, you will be ecstatic when it happens. And it will be worth the wait. You will see it very soon.
Thank you. So this convergence that you were talking about, can you tell us more about what will happen in that convergence? What that's going to look like?
It's going to get the separation is going to get louder and louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
But as it's getting louder, you that are already really holding this fifth dimensional energy are going, like you were today, laughing. You're going to start laughing at it. It's going to become so ridiculously like you got to be kidding, right?
Yeah.
And so it'll become so ridiculous that is what is going to start waking the masses up, the more of the people up. And there will be I don't know what it is, but I do see that there is going to be a moment in time where it's God's hand.
Mhm.
And God's hand is going to show how ridiculous it is. And in that moment, God's power is realigned on this planet.
Okay.
And what you would call as the Satan energy, whatever, it will be destroyed. It will be destroyed and you will know it.
Wow. And that's happening this year.
A huge part of it, yes.
Mm-hmm.
There may be like residual effects from it, but you'll know. You will know.
Okay.
You will know. It's done. Like you already know it's done on some level in the final outcome, but you will know it in the physical. You will see it.
Okay. That's reassuring. And so that's going to have an effect on these divine couples as well.
Yes. Yes, it'll be because all the separation that they've been experiencing and judgments,
Yeah.
they'll be exposed and they'll realize that their judgments were never true. And then there will be a time of, it will have to be a time of forgiveness for yourselves and for each other, for the judgments you have held. You have worked through much of it. The men have not.
Okay.
And that's what you're going to be there for them when those judgments need forgiveness.
Okay.
And they see them for what they were.
The next question is about the experimental injections that people are having. For the divine partners who are awake and are not going to be involved in the experimental medical interventions, so do people who have not had the vaccine need to protect themselves in any way from people that have?
I would say when you go out and you are around, even around people, because people are sending off a signal, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Put a protective bubble around yourself.
Okay.
As much as possible. And that signal, some of what they're doing with the 5G airwaves is adding to the signal. I don't know exactly how it's just sort of, it's picking up people's bodies and causing them to vibrate differently. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to vibrate differently.
So is this like the scrambled energy you were talking about before? People feeling really scrambled. Yeah. And
yes, it's like I've heard it's called a rogue. It's rogue.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's rogue. It's a scrambled energy. It just keeps you confused. Nobody quite knows what's going on. You can see it in people. I mean, the masks add to it too. They go out and they look dazed. So many people just look dazed.
Yeah.
They don't know what to. Like, you talk to them and they got this glassy look on their eye, or they don't answer you, or they can't understand. It's just people are like becoming like robots.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's their attempt. But this light is going to shake them up. That's coming in. It's going to shake them up.
Okay. Okay, so what should Lynn do in the meantime? I know this connection is not gonna, it's destined, it's promised. But in the meantime, how should she, or how can she navigate it to help herself the most, so that she can, should she cut him off in a short, for short term, or should she just leave that communication open? How's the best? What's the best moving forward?
I think the best is for her to sit back and let him come to her, and he will.
Okay.
And to respond when he comes, or not to demand anything or even really push anything. Let him come to some conclusions.
Mhm.
He's not afraid to get in touch with her now. So he just needs his quiet and if he doesn't feel like he wants to see her, it's not because he doesn't want to see her. He doesn't want to confuse his thought process on this. He wants to be absolutely certain. He doesn't, because he knows if he sees her, it all goes away, and he just moves forward. But he needs to resolve this within himself before he moves forward again. He needs to take, this is big for him. He's never done this.
Yeah.
So she needs to try to look at it as a positive and not a negative. And
is there anything else that wants to come through this session today before we close up?
Both of you know that it's all going to be okay, as hard as it is right now. It's for both of you. And many of these messages for you were for you as well.
Yeah.
Throughout this session. And
is there anything for the collective that wants to come through right now?
It's a critical time, and you know it.
Yeah.
And you know it. That's the hardest part of it. And it's okay to be sad and scared and afraid, and just feel it. Try not to deny it. The light workers tend to want to always be in love and light, but there's a lot of fear out there that's manifesting. And if you try to push it to the light, it's still buried there. So just acknowledge the fear.
Yeah.
And then do what you can to work on bringing it to a higher place and releasing it, whatever it is. It works for you, it works for, and this will be exciting times. And exciting can also be fear. Sometimes feels like excitement, and sometimes it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's lots of anxiety out there, and just know you're doing what you're doing, and every day is reaching towards this culmination point as you do it consciously each day. Just ask.
Is there any other information at all that wants to come through this session just before we close?
Lynn will receive the roses. That will come.
Is there any words that their higher selves can share to each other right now to give some comfort?
Remember the water together. Remember the water together. That's where you were one. And remember to connect. As Lynn, that was a good point for her to connect with his higher self when she can and speak to him. To really make it as she speaks to him, like I said earlier, make it a conscious effort to speak to his higher self.
Yes.
And not that part of him that's scared, his higher self. But she tends to speak to the scared part.
Yeah, to the 3D part.
So, and that goes for you too.
Yeah.
When you speak to your counterpart, speak to the higher aspect of him.
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
if she remembers that moment, to go back to the moment she saw where they made the promise. And that's the place to speak from and to.
It's beautiful.